Good morning. This is Ruby Shoals, and I know that we've already had an introduction. I want to say thanks, Lisa, and the Take Flight team for inviting me to be a part of this awesome event. Again, my name is Ruby Shoals. I'm a financial professional. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my history and why I ended up where I'm at. My background is nursing. I've been a nurse, a registered nurse for 43 years. I know you're probably thinking, oh my, she looks so young. But yeah, 43 years. I was looking for a way out of nursing. I wanted to make sure that I could continue to make a difference in the lives of people, and I got introduced to financial services. I became a life insurance agent, but the education piece of what we do is what fit my heart. So today I'll be sharing some information with you, just a conversation about two areas that are really near and dear to my heart, and I like to make sure that people have the right information about. It's about long-term care and long-term care insurance and living benefits life. So I'd like to share with you a little story about a couple of ladies, Karen and her mom, Barbara. Karen had to take care of mom. You know how it goes. You get caught in the sandwich generation. Karen's kids were growing up, but her mom was getting older. And since mom had already lost her husband, then it fell on Karen to be able to look out for mom. Well, she would go by every day after work, check on mom, make sure she had everything. But she kind of noticed that mom was kind of getting a little forgetful, and she would forget her keys. One day she had left a pot on the stove and almost caught the house on fire. And Karen was starting to get a little bit worried about Barbara. One day Karen got a call from the neighbor. She found Barbara wandering the streets. She had gone for a walk and couldn't remember how to get back home. So Barbara and Karen, this is something that happens to families all the time. Karen decided that I need to get mom in to see the doctor and see what's going on. And when she did, she got the diagnosis of Alzheimer's. So Karen knew that it wasn't safe anymore for mom to be home alone. So she started looking into facilities that mom could stay at, that she knew her mom would love. So she looked at facilities and she found this beautiful facility. It had great staff. Everyone was helpful and friendly, had a lot of activities going on. And so Karen knew that mom would love it here. So she sat down with the marketing people to figure out the cost. And Karen left crying because she knew that they could not afford that beautiful place for mom. So think about this. And there's a couple of questions I want to ask you. But first, I got to let you know that the names were made up. So they're not anybody that I really know. But this is a story that a lot of people are having, and especially women. So as women, I want to talk to you about women in long-term care. This story could happen to any of us. When we find out what the cost of long-term care is and how we can make sure our loved ones can have a place, if this instance happens to you, if they can have a place that you knew that they would be happy at and you didn't have to leave crying. So this is what this conversation is about. It's about planning, looking at where you are, looking at what you have in place, and looking at the need for long-term care and long-term care insurance. So what is long-term care and why would you need it? Well, if you're unable to do the activities of daily living, like eating, dressing yourself, transporting from the bed to the chair, or even going to the bathroom, those are considered activities of daily living. And if you can't do those, then maybe you'll need some help. And that's where long-term care comes in. And also where long-term care insurance comes in. So if you had a family member or you needed to be in a facility that they could get constant care, well, the average cost of a private room is anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000. That's average. Some are higher, some are lower. What I want you to think about is how much money have you saved? And how long could you afford to pay for that care? See, the only thing that pays for long-term care is private money, long-term care insurance, or government like Medicaid. Medicare does not pay for long-term care. It pays for some skilled care, but not long-term care. So you need to be aware of what is available to help pay for long-term care. So let me ask you this question. If you had to have long-term care, if you had to have a caregiver, who would your caregiver be? In most instances, it's women. The women provide the majority of caregiving. Men are out there doing some caregiving also, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking to the women today. So the majority of you are doing the caregiving or will be doing the caregiving. And it's unpaid caregiving. So the average amount of money, lifetime income lost from someone that's doing caregiving is over $600,000. Think about that, $600,000 in a lifetime for caregiving. But we love our families and our family members, our husbands, our mothers, and that's not a problem for us. But what if there's money available that you can tap in to get some help? It's hard being a caregiver. Caregivers wear themselves out because they worry about everybody else and they don't worry about and think about and take care of themselves. But when there's long-term care insurance in place, then you can tap into that money to maybe be able to keep mom or dad at home longer by providing home care, and the cost would be covered with the long-term care insurance. So still think about this. If you need long-term care, how would you fund it? Think about it. Think of what you've saved. Think about the costs. And if you want to look more into the details of the cost, take a look at a website called Genworth Cost of Care. And Genworth lays out the costs of care, from long-term care, from home care to skilled to semi-private, private rooms for whatever area of the country that you live in. And the costs are higher depending on where you live. So think about that. And then those are the questions that you need to ask. So moving forward with long-term care, you need to look at the different types of long-term care insurance that are out there and available to you. You have to do your research. You have to do your due diligence. You may never need long-term care, but if you did, how is it going to affect your family? And as a woman, we tend to care more about it than the average person does. So, one of the things that you have to look at when you're looking at a long-term care and having something in this place is sitting down with someone and going over your options. There are a lot of different companies out there. There are less than there used to be, but there are still companies out there. So think about the fact that as a woman, the chances are you having to be a caregiver are significant. And the probabilities of needing long-term care. Think about this. 1 in 335 houses will catch fire in a year, this year. 1 in 52 people will have an auto accident in a year. But 1 out of 1.4 people are 65 or older are projected to need long-term care. The odds are in the favor that you will need some type of long-term care. So what you need to do as women is to plan, to get out there, get the research done, talk to people, talk to someone that does this for a living. Look at your options. Long-term care now, our plans are starting to be put in place for people starting at age 35. Because as you know, the younger you are, the healthier you are, the less insurance costs. The thing is, have a plan in place. I have one friend that her mom had long-term care insurance, and she said it was the best thing that had ever happened because her mom had been under care for over 10 years. And neither her or her brother had to come out of their pocket with one dime because mom had planned and had something in place that took care of all her long-term care expenses. So as women, we are caught in that sandwich generation of taking care of our children and then usually taking care of our mom, our dad, or whatever family member. But you're looking at you as a woman. The chances of you needing long-term care are pretty good. Over 65, 7 out of 10 will need some type of long-term care. But as a woman, we tend to live longer than men. Men, the average life expectancy is 76. Women is 81. We tend to age alone. We may be widowed, we may be divorced, and then sometimes we get chronic and debilitating health issues that make it where we need some help. But my thing is, would you want to be a burden for your family? And if you don't, take a look at getting some plans in place. It may not be the biggest policy or investment out there, but look at getting something in place so that you don't leave that burden onto your family. Just imagine you have a daughter. She's working. She has to take care of you. What if she has to take care of work? What happens to her family? So think about yourself as a woman. We're nurturers, we're caregivers. We do not want to leave a burden of our care on our family member. But if we plan and we get some things in place, then the chances of being that burden, especially a financial burden, is lessened. And also, would you want to spend down the money that you have saved all your life to have a good retirement and then to leave a legacy for your family on healthcare, on long-term care? So take a look at long-term care insurance. Get something in place so that you're not a burden, financial burden to your family, and you can live that quality life and still leave a legacy for your family. So long-term care is important. Talk to someone. I happen to know a good agent that could help you out, but talk to someone. Get a plan in place so that you're not a burden, financially burdened to your family. And so moving forward to the next topic, and that's living benefits life insurance. So most people don't realize that there's life insurance that you don't have to die to use. That's living benefits life. And by that I mean, if you have an event, heart attack, cancer, stroke, and you have a living benefits life insurance policy in place, you're able to tap into the death benefit of that policy to take money out of it to help you live now. So just imagine, God forbid, you had a heart attack. Would you be able to go to work? The odds are you can't. What if you had a stroke? What if you had cancer? The statistics for cancer in women is projected 1 out of 3 will have cancer in their lifetime. Cancer is a high dollar, very devastating medical condition. It weakens you, and you will, in most cases, can't go to work. But let me ask you this question. If you can't go to work, do the bills stop? They don't. And if you knew bills were coming in and you had no money to pay them, would it stress you? Stress is one of the biggest killers. So think about the fact that if you had something in place that you could take money from to help pay those bills, that would allow you to focus on getting well and not being stressed out over the fact that the bills are still coming. So living benefits life can be term, 10, 20, 30-year term policies. It can be indexed universal life, or it can be whole life. You need to sit down with a financial professional, look at your options, and think about getting something in place. As the saying goes, plan while you can. But you have to get this knowledge. The Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. But just think, looking out there and finding the information that can help you take better care of your family and better be positioned that when the what ifs of life happen, that you're prepared. You cannot be prepared for everything, but you can do your best to be prepared financially with some insurance products in place that when what if happens, then your family will be taken care of, and you can decrease the amount of stress on you and your family. So living benefits life is solutions that's out there that's available to you. You just have to research it, talk to someone, and look at what's a best fit for your family. You know, it used to be, I think, our biggest concern is, what if I die? But see, that's not the only concern now. We've got really three. Number one is, what if I die? Will I leave a burden to my family? The next one is, what if I get sick? Will I still have money coming in to take care of my bills and to decrease my stress and to keep a roof over my head and still be able to focus on getting well? And then the third option is, what if I live too long? So living long without adequate income. These are three concerns that we have to look at, and we have to put plans in place to make sure that the people that we love and care for, that we don't leave a mess behind, that we can leave that legacy. But it takes planning. As they say, plan while you can. Because once you get something like heart attack, cancer, and stroke, then you no longer qualify to have those insurances put in place. So my goal is to help people understand that there's options out there, but you have to move on finding out about them and implementing them for your family. We as women are caregivers. And sometimes we're the ones that have to get out there and find the information to make sure our families will be taken care of. And then also that we'll be taken care of. I've got a lot of what if policies in place because I do not want to be a burden for my family financially. And I'm sure that you don't either. But the thing is, there's a lot of great ladies that will be bringing messages to you later on. Have your notepad out, take good notes, reach out to these ladies, including me, and see what we can do to help you make sure that your family is protected. It's up to you to find out the information and to put a plan in place to make sure your family is taken care of. So this is Ruby Scholes, your financial professional, encouraging you to live well, build wealth, and leave a legacy. Take care and have a great and blessed rest of the day.